Hey guys, what is going on? It is Justin Masson here with Nintendo Dads, and this is going to be our first look at MoonLighter for the Nintendo Switch. Came out today, actually. Today, November 5th. I'm excited to play this. I'm very excited. Very excited to play this. Or at least show it to you, because I'm not going to lie. I have been playing this. So what I've done is I have captured the first approximately about 20 minutes of the game. And of course, just as we're coming up to, big thank you to 11-Bit Studio for providing us a copy and access. We appreciate that. And of course, the game is done by Digital Sun, who are absolutely fantastic. So both these publishers and developers are fantastic. We've loved working with them so far. Now, as I've mentioned, I'm going to show you here about the first about 30 minutes of MoonLighter. And I'm going to tell you, I've had a weird relationship with MoonLighter in 2018. And let me tell you a little bit about it. So I first saw this game, I don't know, some teaser or trailer, maybe some ad on Twitter, and I was like, oh wow, that looks really cool. And it was like 2018, and I was like, okay, that really has my attention. Didn't know a lot about it, but it kind of grabbed me from the trailer, which, you know, most trailers do that, or a good trailer should do that. So I was excited for it. I was kind of watching it and tracking its release dates and its comments, and oh yeah, okay, it's going to be released on the Nintendo Switch a little bit later in 2018, and I was like, okay, all right, so later in 2018, it was going to be released. We're obviously here, we're starting with a wonderful backstory as well about this treasure. Beautiful graphics, by the way. This 16-bit pixelated, I believe it's 16-bit. It's just gorgeous, just straight out gorgeous. So we're seeing our character, again, we're kind of getting a backstory that there are heroes and merchants and a shop that you have. And it's interesting because, sorry, I'm kind of all over the place. Here we are as a shopkeeper. Life came hard to the town. We've got this nice rucksack bag. And we're going to go to some dangerous dungeons. So already, like when I first saw the trailers, it reminded me very much of Legend of Zelda. And so it had my attention. So here's my weird relationship with it. And I apologize, I'm all over the place. I saw it was on my radar. I was like, oh, this looks really cool. Definitely interested in it. I think I even reached out to the PR company. It's like, hey, this is definitely awesome. In 2018, we'd love to highlight it. You know, kind of good things that we do. And then I was at Gamescom. And I had heard that this was going to be playable at Gamescom. I was like, yes, I was so excited. So I got to Gamescom, and I got to the indie section, and there was a booth available for this, and I was like, right on. So I jumped right into it. And I played it for about 5 minutes at Gamescom. And I remember distinctly putting the controller down, turning to the booth attendant, and I said, is there another game I can play? Because I'm not interested in this. And your man was like, oh, what's wrong? And I was like, this game just has not grabbed me, and I don't want to play it. Now, in all fairness, here's what happened. The section that was being demoed to us was as the shopkeeper. And there was really no information about controls. It was just like, you're a shopkeeper. There are these things in your bag. You need to sell them. Go have fun. And that's a critical part of this game. It absolutely is. But to drop that as the demo part of it, you're losing a lot of the experience that is MoonLighter, because the shopkeeping component is absolutely important. But I think without a lot of instructions, it just kind of puts you in this really weird place, essentially. And so I remember walking away. I was like, I am not excited for MoonLighter. So I kind of felt like I had a really bad experience with it. So I was like, maybe I'm wrong about it. And then we were able to get a code early enough. And I said, you know what? Maybe I was wrong. Maybe my first glance at it, maybe my first play, my 5 minutes at Gamescom without real instructions, without the proper setup and just being dropped in, maybe that didn't help me. So I said, okay, you know, guys, I'm gonna take a second crack at this. Maybe I'm wrong. I want to play MoonLighter. I'm gonna be the one that kind of highlights in the show. Ladies and gentlemen of the internet, I am so excited about how wrong I was, because I have been playing MoonLighter now for, I'd say anywhere between 10 hours since getting it, and I absolutely adore and love this game, and I'm so happy about how wrong I was. Now, we're watching right now me flip through this kind of journal, this logbook that you have, that allows for you as you go through these dungeons to collect loot that has been dropped. As you're killing these enemies, loot is dropped. You collect said loot, which is good. You want that. It is then put in your bag, and then with that loot, you then use that as the economy of the town. So you have a shop. You're a shopkeeper. So by day, the loot that you have mined or have achieved through going through the dungeons, you then put that to your shop, and you offer that to your community, your town, to purchase. And you have to set the prices of things, and your townspeople will tell you that was a high price or a low price, and so you fluctuate it. And then, of course, the money that you're raising or that you're earning through your trips into the dungeon, as we see here, I'm exiting out of the dungeon. And this is the dungeoned platform area as we're coming up to right here. There are 4 kind of mini or 4 dungeons that you have to go through, only to then, once you complete those 4 dungeons, to complete the largest dungeon or the final dungeon. Now, this wonderful man, this old man is kind of helping you and giving you some guidance in this tutorial here, which is fantastic. But again, the money that you're raising through selling in your shop that you do by day, you then take that money, and here we are at my shop right now, you then take that money and you invest that money into your shop. So you can get a bigger shop, so more shelves, you can get a more expensive or better till, so you get potentially tips. You can then use that money to invest in bringing a blacksmith into the town, or a person who does potions in the town, or a banker into the town, whatever you need to kind of reinstate or reinvigorate the town's economy, which is great. And then the other great part is that the money that you're raising through what you're selling, you then need to use that. So if I want to use the blacksmith, I have not only helped the blacksmith come into the town, but by the way, I need to upgrade my sword. Of course you would, as you do, right? And to upgrade my sword or upgrade my skills, I need to craft. So remember those items that I'm achieving from these drops within the actual dungeon? Well, I bring those out for me, and I need to, I want to have a stronger or a new sword. Well, I need 5 iron and 2 crystals and, whatever else it is. I look for those pieces as I'm in there. So maybe when I leave the dungeon, I have those in my backpack, which is great. I bring that to the blacksmith, those items to craft. Plus, I give him 1,000 gold coins. Bada bing, bada boom. Now I've got a better sword or a better weapon or a better skill set, or not better skill set, better weaponry that now I can go exploring into the cave and go much further, and of course, get better and more drops, right? All fantastic stuff. Great little nod back there. I don't know if you saw the dialogue speech as I was, praising this, how good it was. There's this beautiful call out here where they actually say in here, take this, it's dangerous to go alone. And of course, call out to the Legend of Zelda, right? In that scene with the old wise man. So again, it is this amazing, it's this great cycle that you play of, I can go into the cave, and maybe as you go in just kind of who you are, maybe your base set of your gear and your backpack, you're maybe getting 3 or 4 or 5 rooms into the dungeon, and you're like, my life isn't so great, I don't really have much potions, I'm going to leave the dungeon. You can do that. You have this kind of ability to portal out. You portal out, you've got your stuff in your bag, I'm going to go sell the stuff in my bag, the stuff in the bag gets me more money, I'm going to go back into the cave, into the dungeon, I'm going to get more gear. Once I get more gear, I'm going to come back out to the shop. I'm going to use that the loot that I found to craft it with the money I've made to make better gear. And now instead of being three rooms in the dungeon, I'm going to be 5. I'm going to be 6. I'm going to be 7 rooms in. So I'm getting further. I'm getting more gear. I'm getting more loot. And of course, that loot is going to help me buy more things. Now, interestingly enough, in the dungeons have levels essentially. So there's like a level 1, 2, 3, and then usually a boss fight in a dungeon. So as you get deeper into the dungeon, of course, the risk goes higher. There are more enemies in each of the rooms, and potentially the reward becomes higher as well. So ideally, you want to get, I want to get to level 3 of the dungeon because those are the best enemies, those are the best loot drops, and of course, that's going to help me sell or it's going to help me craft as well. So there is this progression that keeps bringing you back. And that is the one of the things that this game does tremendously well, is it has that just one more addictive kind of grab of you. Whether it's, just one more run into a dungeon, because a dungeon can take you, 5 minutes, maybe 5 or 10 minutes, depending on how far you actually get in a dungeon. Or you could, like, if your objective is, I'm going to try and get to the boss, I'm going to try and kind of run through the dungeon, I'm going to try and get through all 3 levels, get to the boss. Maybe that's 5, maybe it's 10 minutes. Or maybe you're like, you know what, I'm not ready to go fight the boss yet, but I'm going to just kind of do a loot run, right? Where I'm going to go in and I'm going to just power through as many floors as I can, get my bag as full as I can, and then just jump out, right? Do my portal, get out. And of course, you get out, boom, that's save. Or maybe it's like, hey, just one more day of selling stuff in the shop. My bag is full. I've got my treasure boxes full of extra gear as well. I'm going to sell that stuff. I'm going to make more money. That's the kind of one more thing that keeps you coming back to MoonLighter and keeps bringing you back. It's fantastic. I just, I'm coughing, excuse me. I'm just so excited I'm coughing about it. But it is an absolutely tremendous game. And I'm going to read you a little bit of kind of the PR spin that we got from this announcement as well. And this is great. So, MoonLighter is a charming story of Will. So our character's name is Will here, shopkeeper by day in the village of Rhinaka, I'm probably saying that wrong, selling classic RPG stuff like potions, wands, swords, and armor. Will, whose secret nightlife is of a warrior who hunts monsters in dungeons to get said RPG stuff for his shop. As a kid, there are dreams of adventures, monsters, and mysteries to be solved, but as a shopkeeper, duty came first. Year after year, the needs of other adventurers came first. Today is different. Today, you start your own adventure. And that's a great point. So he's a shopkeeper, not only obviously to his own townsfolk that are in the area, that are buying stuff from him, but of other adventurers who are coming to this dungeon area, who are coming here to obviously have their run at the dungeons and get loot of it. So it makes the existence of, there are other adventurers who are coming through. So here we are kind of right now in this dungeon. As we saw, we came in. I have kind of my doors I can go through. Here are my enemies. You can see a quick enemy bar over each one of them. Quick swipes, they're done. They'll most likely do some drops on this one as well, and we'll collect those. But you can see that, and we've got my little backpack. In my backpack has a certain amount of spaces, 20 spaces. The moment you collect an item, it goes into your bag. Once you enter a dungeon room, the door closes, so you have to complete the objective in that dungeon room. Now, the dungeon room objectives every time are kill all the bad guys in the room. Pretty simple objective. So in this case, I'm battling this guy right here. What a lot of it is trying to understand the solve of how do you beat this enemy. What's the best technique for this guy specifically? So this is a pretty good drop here. Grabbing these items, excuse me, sorry about that. And starting to move around the room. And again, right now I just have a pretty simple sword, I believe, in this case. So we see lots more enemies in this case. I've entered the room from the bottom part of the screen. I have 2 exits there, left and right. Again, those will open up after I have beat all the bosses. Top left-hand corner is my health bar, starting off with about 100 health. Now that can increase obviously by potions and by the gear you add, right? So if you get a armor set, that can add 30 points or 30 points of health. These little jelly things, by the way, are vicious. If you attack by the jelly things, that's horrible. But you can see in this case, I had no exits, but I have to go back out. So the gear can increase this as well. Now, each time you go in a dungeon, you will always find a room that has this traveler's note book in here, or tenting area. And it gives a little bit of kind of backstory of, there are other travelers, other adventurers that have come to these dungeons and are here, and they're exploring and they're trying to get stuff as well. So it's a very interesting kind of acknowledgement of the other world and the other players who are there. Now, in all fairness, all these other players that I'm talking about, these are not other players of like, hey, it's a 2-player game and your friend jumps in. But they're obviously non-playable characters, NPCs in the game that exist as well and are indeed coming to the dungeon to hunt. Now, thus far, I haven't ran into any in the dungeon. You run into some in the actual town, of course, and you as a shopkeeper are also selling your gear or some of your equipment to some of these folk. which is great as well. So there's some kind of nice little stories being told here in these little cutscenes, or not necessarily cutscenes, but dialogue scenes of the world of this kind of explorer as well. Giving you a little bit more information here, again from the PR release. Conduct business during the day at Rhinaka Village, and at night traverse the gates to different realms and dimensions as you guide Will through his action RPG. As a shopkeeper, put items on sale, set your price carefully, manage gold reserves, recruit assistants, and upgrade the shop. Be careful though, some shady individuals may want to steal your precious wares. True story. There are literally shoplifters who will come into your shops, try and steal stuff. Your job is to try and get them before they leave out of the shop, stop them, and therefore they don't leave with your stuff. So there's definitely some management of that as well. In a lot of ways, when we talk about here's the map, by the way, the map of the levels that we have. So there's the 4. So you get 4 keys, and once you have the 4 keys, then of course you can go to the major dungeon as well. Here we're talking about this pennant, which allows you to easily teleport back to the shop. So you can get as far as you want into the level, maybe, and you're like, you know what, my loot bag is full. I don't want to go for the end boss. I just want to jump out and I'm good. You can activate the pennant, and it uses, you can see there at the bottom right hand corner with the Y, it uses a certain amount of coin. I think it uses like 200 coin, jumps you back out there. But it's kind of like yeah, I'm done, I'm out, that's cool. Really good function as well. So it allows for you to decide, how do I want to tackle the dungeon? Do I want to tackle a dungeon and speed run to the boss? Or do I want to tackle a dungeon to get loot? Just any loot to sell? Or do I want to do it for specific loot? Or do I want to get loot for crafting? Like, what is your objective? And again, it allows for you to have a fair bit of options there as well. In a lot of ways, the shopkeeper component of it reminds me, and again, I mean, it's a bit of a crude analogy, but something like a Stardew Valley, right? As opposed to your farming, right? As opposed to your, hey, here's my crop, and I'm going to farm this, and I'm going to sell it for so much. Instead, this is, hey, I've farmed the dungeon, my crop is my loot, and I'm going to sell that to the townspeople. And there's the economics of, hey, I need that money to help me buy other things and do other components. So in a lot of ways, and again, it's not an exact one-for-one, because there's a lot of other components of something like a Stardew Valley, but the shopkeeper component of this is very similar to that principle. So very cool. I like it. So going back to some more PR components here, I apologize. Fighting with style, masterful control of your weapons, critical timing, capture positioning, and understanding of your enemy's environment are crucial for your survival. How you battle your enemies is up to you. Again, great example, right? Like, hey, do I want to have short, close combat? Then maybe I just have my sword. What if it's a different an enemy that I feel like I need to bring up the big sword? Like, literally, they have something called the big sword. Yeah, I can get the big sword. It ups my health by 20, but it slows my speed down by 4. So now when I'm going into combat, is it worth the slowdown for the massive swing? Or do you use something like the spear or the arrow, which is really good at kind of keeping a little bit of distance so that they don't strike you. Some of these enemies or bosses have like large swords that they're swinging at you, so getting a little bit of distance here. Here we're seeing the ability to actually upgrade my shop as well. So you can upgrade, you can do extensions into your shop. So you have the ability here to actually say like, yeah, I want to buy a booth where I can have a sale, or I want to expand my shop to have more showrooms to sell stuff and better cash registers. And if there's more showroom, there's more stuff I can put out, the more economy I make. By the way, maybe I want to actually invest in this. So you invest in your shop, or you can invest in the village. And investing in the village is where you actually bring people in, such as a banker or a shopkeeper. Or sorry, not shopkeeper, a blacksmith and stuff like that. So right now here, as we start off, I have a relatively small little shop, right? And that's only a couple people or a couple of spots there. Meet some villagers. Get to know your neighbors as you restore the prosperity of the small commercial hamlet. Help establish new businesses and watch them grow in this idyllic community. Right? So again, you're helping your shop, you're helping the community, you're helping other shopkeepers. There's like a whole like intrinsic kind of community that you're building here. Now, here we're seeing a couple of the things I have in my bag here. Easy, click on that. I bring it over to, let's say, one of those open squares over there, and I can set the price of what I want to do. Now, once you have, first time you move something, it's no price, but you can actually take a look at your book and say like, hey, when I set the price, once I open my shop doors, people come in, they look at it, and it's like, they basically give you 4 emotions. Are they happy with the price? Is it okay? Or sorry, is it not happy, so they're very angry about it? It's sad about it. Is it good price, or is it too good of a price? Which means if it's too good of a price, they're getting it for a steal of a deal. And really, you want it at a good enough price that people want to buy it, but you're not getting ripped off. So when you first introduce one of these items to the table here, you need to kind of set that price and then kind of watch what people's feedback are as well. So it's a very kind of interesting management perspective of it. Final couple things: crafting, enchanting, and looting. Interact with the villagers to craft new armors and weapons, and enchant existing equipment. Also collect valuable items from exotic civilizations. There is a ton of content here as well. And there's extra loot and content as well for the Nintendo Switch version, which is great. Yeah, it's absolutely stellar. Like, I cannot probably say enough about it. But sorry, I apologize. The extra loot. No, I was thinking of something else here. They actually have a physical version of it you can actually pick up. It's got like maps and obviously the game and lots of other gear with it as well. So that if that is something that, and you can actually get like little plushies, it looks like, in here as well, soundtracks, movie poster. If that's something that interests you, you can obviously get a physical version of it as well. I am, absolutely in love with this game. Like, I cannot say this enough. I am so happy about how wrong I was with this game. Yeah, it's great. It's so good, and it's got that right blend of Zelda-esque dungeon crawling components to it, with some RPG mechanics and some shopkeeper kind of, again, Stardew Valley components. That it's a ton of fun. Right at the bottom of the screen, it's kind of like sundial. It tells you what day you're working on. Here we can actually see them interacting with and telling me whether the prices are too high. This is an absolutely fantastic game, and again, I'm so glad that I was wrong. And I guess maybe that kind of says, does the game demo well? It might not demo well, right? Like, you need to invest, the first 20, 30, 40 minutes into it to understand the mechanics behind it, to say, like, yep, there it is. That's the thing. I will say this. I received this game and another major game on the exact same day to review and to give my opinions of. And by far, MoonLighter grabbed my attention, and I keep going back to this and keep playing this and keep playing this. This is actually the game that right now has broken my Fortnite kind of obsession that I've been playing with. Where Fortnite, I've just been like, that's the game I pick up and play and keep playing and keep playing. This has broken that. I'm like, nope, just want to play more MoonLighter. So I guess that says something right there, right? Like, that's a good sign. If it was crummy and didn't want to play it, I wouldn't, right? So, yeah, it's stellar. I don't know. Music is good. Graphics are good. Gameplay is great. The actual controls I find really easy. I don't know, like, what else to say about it. Other than you should buy it. It's out now. I'm actually gonna get the price for you. Gonna do that because that's a nice thing to do. I mean, you could also do this, but I'm going to anyways for you, just to let you know. $24.99. $24.99. Absolutely fantastic. Yep, that's a great price. I'd agree with that. It's categorized as an action-adventure role-playing simulator. So it's a mouthful, but all of those things I also agree with. Yeah. Yep. We can just kind of watch, I guess, and I can talk about that stuff now. Watch me play. Some more village folk meandering in. Kind of getting a little light out there, a little dark. Got some gear. Gonna try and sell stuff. Left-hand corner, again, is my is the money I got like 300. It looks like I can't see. My glasses aren't on right now. As you can see, that person wasn't very happy with that price. So obviously I priced it too high. So I'm gonna need to go make some adjustments with that. So I mean, there's also the first little bit when you're putting out new stuff, new product. There's a lot of management of the situation, trying to figure out is that a good price or not, right? You don't want to overprice yourself. And again, once you have found the price that does work, that you're happy with, and when you like come back and you sell products that same item again, it auto remembers that price, so you don't have to redo it every single time, which is great. But you can also like make some modifications. Oh, this time I've sold it for 100. I know it sells really well. Maybe now I'll sell it for 110 and see what happens. So, there are some kind of nice little adjustments that you can do there as well. This is fantastic. As a matter of fact, actually, after I'm done this recording, I'm just going to go downstairs and play some more MoonLighter. I don't know what else to say. Hope you've enjoyed this, and you guys kind of like these just real casual chats. I mean, I think if like I know another certain dungeon crawling game came out this weekend as well, Diablo. Do this. Save yourself a good chunk of money and just do this. This is much better. I shouldn't say that. I don't know for sure. I have actually played Diablo. I didn't care for that as much. But again, my story here is that don't judge a game by your 5 minutes of playing it. Sometimes you need to play it longer. And I just dropped something. I apologize. And sometimes that happens, right? Like you're at events like Gamescom or E3 or EGX, you're given a couple minutes to try and figure out a game and whether you like it or not. And maybe that's not the best, right? You really need to soak in that time. And like everyone's like, duh, no kidding, of course. I had another experience like that when I was playing Starlink, right? I played Starlink. I was like, no dice. I'm done with this. Just because my booth experience, wasn't great. Again, when I say booth experience was great, the people were very kind. But I was having someone yap in my ear, and it was just like, just not the way that I like to play. Where this is really, this is good. This is good stuff. I would recommend MoonLighter. If you have not already got that from my conversation now for nearly 30 minutes on MoonLighter. Of course, big thank you, right? Big thank you to the dev who sent this over to us, right? We appreciate Digital Sun and 11-Bit Studios, the PR firm. They're fantastic. We've enjoyed this so far, so we greatly appreciate it. And guys, thank you. Thank you for tuning in and listening to this. Let me know in the comments below. Does this kind of style of kind of first look or preview, does it work for you? Do you want more of an official thing, or you like just the chat over it and how it gets on? You can see here I'm flipping through some of the items and seeing the reactions that I've gotten of the stuff I'm selling here. Gives a little bit of a synopsis of like what it is. So it's white stone, and here's how much you'd sell it for, or here's how much you've priced it at. So yeah. And it's about sleepy time, so I'm going to move, I think, up to my little room. Look at that. Oh, look at that. I got a little question mark over there, the map. I'll take a look at that. Take a look. There's the map. There's the map we talked about, right? So we know what's going on, and I've got a little bed there. Behind me, this is kind of my area. So if I was like, yeah, I'm done for the day, don't want to go out and go into the caves anymore, but I do kind of want to maybe save, happy with what I did, I can move whatever I have in my backpack over these treasure boxes if I wanted to, so that I don't need to, so my backpack is empty next time I go in the cave. So maybe I haven't gotten ready to sell everything yet, but I'm just kind of like moving things over. By the way, you don't need to move them over one at a time. There is a quick quickly move all to all button you can tap. I'm definitely not doing that here. I'm showing how you can move things back and forth, which is super dumb of me. Just hit the L, Justin. Look at that. Look at that. You can obviously hit the R, and it brings it all back too as well. So those are things. Guys, this has been MoonLighter. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to the Nintendo Dads podcast. Thanks for subscribing. Hey, if you haven't and you're new here, click that subscribe button. We greatly appreciate it. Again, guys, MoonLighter, it's out now. Nintendo Switch, you need to pick this game up because Justin said so. This is a Justin Mass and Nintendo Dads recommendation for MoonLighter.